in the middle of going through something really challenging, whether you've lost your vision, whether something hasn't worked, whether you're really struggling with a decision, it's hard to have gratitude in that moment. But I think in those moments of where you've kind of lost your way is having gratitude for the courage and the strength that it took for you to get where you are now.
Hey there, this is Unburdened by Hope, the podcast that helps you harness your possibility and fuel your purpose. I'm your host, Erin Cummings. Here we're breaking free from the chains of hope and unlocking the power of inspiration within. Get ready to ignite your soul because we're diving deep into the art of letting go, embracing the unknown, and creating a life unburdened by the limitations of hope. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to finding purpose, fueling our passions, and crafting a vibrant existence that sets our hearts on fire. So, are you ready to burn down what's no longer serving you and step into a life driven by possibility? Let's dive in, my friends, and unleash our boundless potential.
Welcome to podcast episode 20. We are going to talk about 20 things that we're grateful for. Not really. I have sectioned the next couple podcasts into like specific, this is November, we're talking about gratitude. So the next couple weeks in November, we're talking about specific things to have gratitude around. And it's not like your pants or your family or whatever, just like specific parts of your life to focus gratitude around. And so this one is definitely not about the failures, but about the challenges that got you where you are. I think it's important to really remind yourself as you've come so far in life, like the strength that it took you to get here and the strength that it takes you every day to like put your pants, like get out of bed, put your pants on, go to work and deal with more shit. Like I've done it, I do it. It's been no secret that I've struggled with my mental health. And so I think it's, so important to practice gratitude around the growth you actually have created and you've made a priority. I really like the concept of Stoicism. I love Ryan Holiday's podcast. I love his books. I think I have all of them except for the few new releases that he's recently come out with. I had a friend that like introduced me to the Marcus Aurelius's Meditations book. It's so interesting to like read some of that stuff and think about like, a long time ago, some of the stuff that he was going through and he was writing his meditations, like he was journaling. And he talks a lot about like dealing with other people and managing other people and managing himself and his anxieties and people's opinions of him. And it's so interesting that like we've progressed so much as a society, but we still have all of these like internal thoughts that haven't necessarily evolved so much over time like our technology has. If anything, a lot of us have gotten a lot worse with our mental health. But I wanted to read this quote from Marcus Aurelius, and he said, remind yourself what you've been through and what you've had the strength to endure. I think that's such a powerful quote. Ryan Holiday does have a daily journal book that there's like a morning question, a question you can do in the morning and a question you can do at night. And he I was really inspired by him because I use his book and I listen to his podcast and I love his emails and all that kind of stuff, his newsletters. So I was definitely inspired by him when I was writing my book. And he's, I always talk about these people that I'm like super inspired by. They don't know me. I follow them as an entrepreneur and podcaster and person who practices mindfulness and, is really focused on their like personal growth and goals and vision that they have for their life. And I think Ryan Holiday really can push people to, create the vision of what they want in their life. I think the only thing, and he definitely touches on it, but like there's not a lot of women. There's not a lot of women Stoics. Just because of, I guess, how things were. So, a lot of this is from a male perspective. Which is fine. And then there's still, you can still get a lot of really good stuff out of it. It's just, it's definitely a different perspective than, things of what women dealt with in that period of time. But, I think it's like we all have this wonder sometimes if we're going through something really hard. And I'll talk about this as we talk about gratitude with failure in an upcoming podcast. But we all in the middle of going through something really challenging, whether you've lost your vision, whether something hasn't worked, whether you're really struggling with a decision, it's hard to have gratitude in that moment. But I think in those moments of where you've kind of lost your way is having gratitude for the courage and the strength that it took for you to get where you are now. Um, I don't, I look at something like my dad's motorcycle accident that's really catapulted a lot of this stuff that I've been doing, like the book and the book tours and this podcast. And, a lot of things like sprung out of that. And I'm not grateful for my dad's accident. Like if I were to do it all over again, I would have had him not have his accident. But I think what I can be grateful for is the strength and the courage I had and the things that I did to overcome what life threw at me. And so I think that that's like a big key takeaway for a lot of us that, have dealt with like any sort of trauma or, kind of these big, big things that loom over in our life. It's to be grateful for the courage and the strength that you have. Maybe not necessarily that incident. I think for some of us, we've had incidences where it's like, I know I'm not grateful for that. Like I'm never going to be. And I think it's ridiculous to try and, toxic positivity, all of it. Like, well, I'm just so grateful to be here. And it's like, okay, Betty, just like calm down. Like you can be like, you don't have to be grateful that that happened to you, but you can be grateful for the strength and the resilience and the courage it took for you to like dig yourself out of the hole that that situation probably put you in. Because I think during all of that, like during the time of these kind of traumatic events or even not traumatic events, like if you're having a really bad day, like I'm not grateful that someone busted out my window. Like, why would I be grateful for that? But, I can be grateful that I had the tools and the strength that it took to like make sure I didn't lose my shit. And, just take the next few steps to get to the situation I needed to get to. Right. Yeah. I think it's like, I think it's really important. Like something I don't talk about a lot is like my like parental relationship. Like obviously I'm very close to my dad, but I am I am not I'm estranged from my mom. And I don't talk about it a lot because it's just not something that I'm like really ready to like, I don't know, bring out all into the open. But I think in situations like that, I have been honest about like feeling overwhelmed, stressed, like sad, guilty, all of those kind of things around like the certain holidays. Like Mother's Day, my birthday, like stuff like that, in which there had been incidences or things that kind of trigger some other things. And so it's like, I'm not grateful for all of that, but I am grateful that like what I had to do and the boundaries I had to create. And I'm grateful for where I am now and like being able to like stand on my own. And even as a business owner, it's translated into like major boundaries. Like I have learned a lot to like it sounds so cliche and it totally sucks as a business owner and friend, but like the fire quickly, hire slowly thing and like really telling people like what you expect and really telling people like, hey, this is even like friends now I do it. It's like, hey, we both agreed this would happen. You did this and now I feel like this and here is what's happening. Like there's been too many times like when we talked about the relationship rings, like there's been too many times now that like something has happened and then it's like we have this, you know, now I have to endure this like weird relationship connection thing. And really, what it is like now I'm so grateful I have the strength to like say what I need to say. And not so sometimes it still comes across as assholey, but um, like in a much better, effective, more positive way. I'm still working on it with my husband. I feel like it's so easy to take the easy road and just like, I don't know, be rude. But I've grown a lot, a lot, a lot. But I think for this week, like as you're moving throughout your week, it's really realizing in a non-triggering way, it's like the way you are now and the way that you're dealing with things and the strengths that you have, like having gratitude for the courage that it took you to get to that point, not the actual event, but like, as you're moving through your day and you did something, I don't know about you, but like I feel like I've come so far. And now as I move through my day and like something happens and I make the decision and I do the thing instead of just like all the anxiety and all the things building and all the things that all the obstacles that normally stand in my way, and I have to go talk to this person and I have to go talk to this person and what would so and so say about this? I need to get their opinion and this and that and this and that. And then it's like now that I'm finally able to like have all of those conversations with myself in my head. I call them meetings, like, hi, I'm having a meeting. But then once I like make the decision and I like take the action, I do the thing, it's like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I'm like finally at this point where I have the courage to like actually do the thing, like hold my boundary, talk to whoever. It's honestly like it's so nice. It's so nice. And I don't have to like by the way, like I don't have to relive all of the events because I now was like, hey, this is what I expected. You didn't do this and you said you would do this and now we're here. I don't have to be like, oh, and then in whatever grade this happened. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I can have a moment and be like, wow, you know what, Erin? Great job. Congratulations. I am grateful for the ability and the strength and the courage I now have to be able to do this thing without going into a full anxiety spiral. Boom. Thank you so much, self. But yeah, I think like as we're kind of leading up to the holidays, I know, listen, I love Thanksgiving and I have like a Thanksgiving episode planned for y'all next week, but I love Thanksgiving. It's such a great time for us as a family. And when the family that we have come into town, we always have such a great time. But it wasn't always like that. Not because of this particular family, because we spent it with people who didn't make me feel good. And it was always chaos and aggression and anxiety and all of this other stuff. And so now it's like, I'm not grateful for all of that, but I am grateful that like now I was able to say, like, this is what I actually want to do for Thanksgiving. And these are the people that I actually want to spend Thanksgiving with. And same for, our family that comes to visit us. She did the same thing. And my sister-in-law and I are very close. I've talked to her, I've talked a ton about her on the podcast, but it's awesome. We've both been through some shit, but now it's very awesome where we don't have to be like, oh, I'm so grateful for all the hard things, but we can be like, no, we're actually really grateful that now we've had the courage to go through all of this, and we're really grateful that we can spend this time with each other and our families that both get along so well. So as you are probably planning some sort of Thanksgiving gathering, or maybe you're not. I've talked to a few friends who now just they go do their own Thanksgiving thing. I feel like I know a few people that are like traveling overseas. Like one of my daughter's friends, they're all going to Disney and then Cabo. And I was like, what a great idea. Like, what a great idea to just like travel, and go somewhere else that like doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving and you can still have an amazing time and it works for their family. But for a lot of other people, I know coming up into this like holiday season is a very stressful and very anxiety provoking and can be really, really hard, which is why I think it's so important to focus on gratitude as we lead up into like the darkness holidays, so to speak, because you can really practice it when it's easy so that when stuff like this does come up and when things do get really hard, it's already started to kind of like become ingrained in you. if you're going to have a hard Thanksgiving and you're going to have a hard Thanksgiving, I think it's important to be grateful. I think it's important to be grateful for the courage that you have to walk into that situation every single time, knowing that it's going to be hard, because like I've been there and it sucks. And I think like to remind yourself, like, okay, if this situation is going to be absolutely terrible and it's not the situation that you're grateful for, it's the strength that you have to do it. And then whatever you need to do to prepare yourself and to also get yourself out of any situation that you don't want to be in, you need to, also be prepared. You can go back and listen to that like plan versus prepared episode. I can't quite remember off the top of my head which one it was, but I think it's important to root yourself in like gratitude for strength as you're coming into doing something hard, and then reminding yourself that, hey, like this could be a hard holiday. And when we do that to ourselves, when we tell ourselves it's going to be hard, like we prepare for it to be hard. So when it actually is hard, I don't know, for some reason it's like, oh yeah, that was hard, but I told myself it was hard, so maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. I don't know. I think there's some science behind it. I can't quite remember the study that talks about something like that, but as you're preparing for this Thanksgiving week, and as you're working through this week, just like I would really encourage you to find some like quiet time, journal, meditation, whatever. This is definitely a more serious episode this week. But I would definitely try and find a good quality quiet time for you to like truly sit down, think about, journal, meditate on like the gratitude you have around your courage and around your strength and around how like capable you really are at doing all of these things. And that's really where like the root of my courageous, capable, strong has come from. It's like realizing that you are courageous, realizing that you are capable, and realizing that you are strong will get you out of the funk of whatever you are in and like help you come into the next step forward. So this week, set aside time, put it on your calendar, whenever works best for your schedule, even if it's for 5 minutes, like have a moment where you're reflecting on the gratitude you have for your strength and courage to get where you are today, and stay courageous, capable, and strong, and continue to be grateful for everything else going on in your life. And then if you need anything in the meantime, I will talk to you next Monday. But if you need anything in the meantime, you can send me a DM on Instagram at Erin Runs an Empire, or you can email me at info@erincummings.com, and I will talk to you next Monday. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Unburdened by Hope. Go to your favorite podcast app, hit that subscribe button, and leave us a review. If you got something out of our show, I'd love to hear from you. Send me your favorite takeaway or any questions you may have to info@erincummings.com. You may even just hear the answer in a future episode. Remember, you are courageous, you are capable, you are strong. It's up to you to create what's possible.